honestly, I don't know why I was always so afraid to be myself. Like my authentic self. Cause this bitch is lit. I ain't never going back. Y'all better get used to it. I like me. I like me now. Y'all done fucked up.
Howdy, it's Graham here. It's 420 somewhere. Also, some changes. I got a haircut and I added a backlight. Nice little warm glow, hopefully. So a couple stories today. The first one kind of piggybacks off of what we were talking about on Wednesday, which was about this cannabis infused thing that was supposed to look like cocaine, and the ethics of that, and whether or not that was kind of setting marijuana legalization back a few steps. It's called Cannabumps, no longer out there, but it just by being a thing, it kind of set things back. Now we're going to talk about branding in a different way, which is kind of almost the way that we all were introduced to edibles in the first place, which were candy edibles. We've all kind of tried, gummy edibles, and that along with edible brownies, which is kind of the way to eat edibles. But now that marijuana is becoming more and more regulated, we're seeing it less and less, and there are two reasons for that. The first reason is the questionable ethics of this as well, which is the main demographic that eat candy in America are kids. And when they see something like the infamous Sour Patch Kid ripoff Stony Patch and a few other Sour Patch Kid ripoffs, when they see something like that, they don't realize that it's marijuana. And of course they can't buy it, but they can find it in their home and then just see this packaging that looks just like Sour Patch Kids, and they're going to eat it and get way too high at an age that they were way too young to get high in the first place. So the main question there is, who are these actually advertising for? And even if they're not advertising for kids, they still are going to be something that is enticing for kids, and we have to be wary of that. The second reason is now that it's not just an ethical question, it's also a legal question, and a lot of these people are getting into legal trouble now because of it being an actually official thing people are selling. So the reason that this is a story right now is because Mars Wrigley out of Chicago has just sued a whole bunch of people or a whole bunch of brands for ripping off of their candy. The main ones are Skittles. I don't know how you expect it's Z-K-I-T-T-L-E-Z. So it's Skittles, but with a little bit more zest on the S's. I don't know how to pronounce that. There's that, and then there's medicated Skittles, and there are a Starburst ripoff, and a few others. Mars Wrigley is a huge candy company, and they are suing all of these people for copyright infringement because of course they are, and it is copyright infringement. My guess is that because of this and because of these ethical questions that have been kind of lingering since the very beginning of candy edibles, we're going to see a lot less of these kinds of things out there that are available to buy legally in states that you can legally buy edibles, which I think might be a good thing. I think, maybe we should just get away from candy and stick to pot brownies and things like that.
It's been almost a decade since Colorado and Washington legalized recreational marijuana. That's given researchers enough time to study the effects of the policy. Supporters argued legalizing marijuana would lower the rate of violent crimes. Opponents thought it would increase violent crime. Turns out, neither happened. Similarly, legalization seems to have little or no effect on traffic accidents or fatalities. A lot of people believed that marijuana prices would crash, providing an increased incentive to use it, but in fact, prices have barely budged. The price of getting high has stayed high. Legalization has created about 321,000 new jobs across the country. It's also been a boon to some states' tax revenues. Colorado, for example, now collects almost $20 million per month from recreational marijuana alone. Depending on who you ask, it's not all good news. If you believe smoking marijuana is bad, then you'll be unhappy to hear that its use naturally increases after legalization.
Way back when on Fridays we used to do shoutouts to influencers, to weed influencers, and we haven't done it in a while, and mainly it's because I had trouble finding good ones, and I didn't really like some of the stuff because it was just on Instagram, their pages were just kind of full of them, having smoke come out of their mouth and different backgrounds and stuff, and it wasn't very interesting. However, now I did kind of find somebody who I think is worth shouting out. She's got a really cool Instagram portfolio, and she seems to have a lot of taste, and her handle is bcbudgal_. She goes by Celeste, and she has really kind of interesting stuff here on Instagram. I went to her TikTok, but that's not really worth talking about. It's not great stuff there, but her Instagram is pretty cool. She seems to live in these beautiful, almost Pacific Northwest woods. Here's a little video from her Instagram. So yes, she is definitely worth following, especially on Instagram, bcbudgal_. And that's pretty much it for this week. I have some day-old pizza that I need to go eat, so we'll talk to you next week.
People always asking me, how do you play doubles? This is it.